1 2 1 2 audio check.
1 2 1 2 audio check.
Oh, we're live again, baby. Cool, yeah, whatever. Yeah, going live again, Scott. I'm trying it again. I mean, probably isn't. It might be quite a bad move because I'm still using my NAT Type 3 internet, but we'll see how it goes. But once I got my NAT Type 2 internet back, it should be alright. Permanently, but hopefully it's fine tonight anyway. Should be fine. Just got to keep an eye on it. Absolutely, Cam, absolutely. Currently 11 of them. I'm hoping there'll be a couple more, but we don't know yet. We'll have to see. I think there was 12 confirmed, so we're pretty close. We've got the current champion and the former champion. In fact, at least 2 former champions. Badman, the current champion, obviously Glenn and Matty Pitt, the former champions. Glenn, a 2-time champion. Alright, I think we're loading up. So a very warm welcome back, everybody, for the first time in a long time here on my channel. Tonight is it's going to be a live broadcast here of the Purple Sector Formula 1 League, as we're here tonight for the final round of Season 14. We've been here for most of the races for this season here at Purple Sector this season, but this is the first one it's got to be since about September, I think, that it's been done live on my channel. I'm hoping it goes alright. I'm ready to save the recording if it doesn't. But fingers crossed. I'm keeping an eye out. I've got the stream on my TV. I've got the actual game on my phone. So if anything does go wrong on the stream, I'll know straight away, because I've got the YouTube stream in front of me, and I'm using remote play to control the PlayStation. So yeah, that should cover all bases here tonight. But enough of that. Anyway, we're here tonight for the final round of the season. Currently got 11 drivers in the lobby at the moment. I'm hoping we'll have a couple more before the end of qualifying, or certainly by the time we start the race anyway. But for those of you who aren't aware or haven't been around, the championship is very much sewn up in the favour of Badman, who took the championship only 6 rounds ago at Singapore. He has had an absolutely dominant season and has managed to cash in on Clen being a notable absentee for many of the rounds this season. Obviously Clen, the two-time champion, and before this season was the reigning champion, but this is no more the champion, because obviously Badman has taken that crown quite emphatically away from him over the course of this season. But I'm sure that Clen will be looking to fight back next season. Both of these two, we believe, are going to be out on track for the next season, and there should be a few additional faces here in the Purple Sector League. I've seen a few people around the server over the last week or so, a few as well, so that by no means are they going to be strangers here on the channel. As it just seems like my mic is just disconnected here. Hold on one second. Is that factual? Not quite sure why. No, apparently it's still connected, so I don't know what was going on there. That's a bit strange. Anyway, no dramas, no issues. It seems like I'm still talking, so as far as I'm aware. Anyway, no dramas. Yeah, perfectly fine. Yeah, God knows what that's all about. But anyway, so we're watching Clen here, the former champion of the Purple Sector Formula 1 League and the two-time champion. Here as he's coming over the line to start his first flying lap of this qualifying session. Obviously last season wrapped up the championship at this very track, went into the final race of the season. It was a decider between himself and Justify, who had a bit of a late season resurgence and had got pretty close to him before the final round. Couldn't overhaul him. Clen ended up sealing the championship with a second place, I believe. I think it was Badman who took the win that night. Obviously a familiar sight that was become a more and more familiar sight over the course of this season, but he was already a force to be reckoned with towards the end of last season as well, as we all remember. But we've got Clen here coming through on this little second straight, which heads down towards the fast left-hander, which used to be a chicane. It's now just technically it's an elongated hairpin, but it's much faster than a hairpin. And we see Matty's just gone fastest ahead of Mango by 2 seconds. So Matty Pitchog, he's got good pace here tonight. Matty, who announced his retirement a few rounds before the end of the season this season, and then went back on his retirement, said that if the league's going to run 1 day a week instead of 2 days a week, he'd be more than happy to carry on. So that's good to see. The founder and the owner of the Purple Sector League alongside T sticking with it for the time being, as we got Clen over the line. Goes fastest there by a fraction there over Matty Pitt by it was a tenth of a second. Less than a tenth, sorry. It was 9 thousandths of a second. Clen has gone faster than Matty Pitt, so very, very close there between those two at the moment. Let's see if anybody's else sat on laps at the moment. We've got G.C. coming towards the end of the first of the 2 long straights. Street Boy's also out there as well. We've got Rexy Boy on his outlap. Badman still in the pit, still has not moved from that garage yet. Ernie's out there. We know Ernie can be a force to be reckoned with on his day, but unfortunately, I've noticed one thing about Ernie, and I guess it's going to sound like criticism. It's not meant to be one, but I kind of like to report things factually. But I think he's a little bit inconsistent. I think it's Ernie's main weakness here. when he brings his A game, he's always in the fight for podiums in any of the leagues that I commentate on. But I do tend to see that he has his ups and downs, does Ernie. But when he's on song, he is a real challenger. As we see, G.C. has just got it onto P1 there, ahead of Clen. So, and by quite some way as well, 0.3 of a second at the moment. So White Shadow's gone up into 4th place here, ahead of Street Boy. Street Boy up into P5. Mango currently P6 at this point. Ernie coming into the pits at the end of this run, so he's not going to improve at the moment. And is going to come in for a fresh set of tyres, one would presume, at this stage. So end of the first runs, it's G.C. who has the advantage over Clen. But to be honest, it's not really massive differences between them. 0.3 of a second is not enormous. Obviously we'll be expecting the track to improve over the course of the session, and I would have thought that there would have been a small amount of track improvement, probably not 0.3 worth, but could have been a factor in the size of the gap between them. I think Rexy Boy was on now. Continues to play absolute havoc.
He continues to play absolute havoc.
Right, so my mic is now reconnected again. I really don't know what's going on. Right, testing.
Right, testing.
Right, apparently it's working now, so we're just gonna hope that the mic stays plugged in. But Rexy Boy did actually go up into P4 with that latest lap there, so not too far away, only 0.6 off for the fastest time there, being set by G.C. So that's no slouch there from Rexy Boy. Bad man, the champion of this Purple Sector F1 League, still hasn't moved from his pit garage for the time being. He is still sat there doing a whole lot of nothing at this point. Ernie's out there on an out lap, so we'll be coming around to start a lap in a moment. Obviously he was on a flying lap a few minutes ago, but ended up aborting that attempt for whatever reason. C-Mac has got into P2, as I've just realised that. C-Mac's done an absolute belter of a lap there, and is right up there, so very, very solid job there from C-Mac, and completely missed that one. Obviously first runs, but he's definitely finding time out there at this moment in time. Still a little way adrift of G.C. As Clen's emerging from the pit lane once again to have another crack at this Yas Marina circuit. Badman still has not moved from that pit garage yet. Let's jump on board with Ernie here. We missed what his first sector time was, but we'll get him coming through the 2 chicanes, or rather the 1 chicane now, the 2 long straights with a chicane in the middle of them. And we'll keep an eye on the top right hand corner at the end of this next straight to see where he is in relation to his previous. Well, actually no, he won't have a previous because he didn't do a lap, so it's going to be a first here for Ernie. We're not really going to have too much of an indication of where he is in regards to his previous lap time here. Here comes Ernie towards the end of the second long straight. Looking pretty tight to the inside there. Very nice exit as well. He was onto the power nice and early here. Ernie looking to be on a decent lap so far here in this one. Here we come then into the final few corners of the lap. And now what he's able to... Oh, bit of a hesitation there as he turned in. And oh, we tell you what, he got that all wrong there. He got that all wrong and he's backed out of it. Ernie's coming into the pits, so this is not going to be an improvement for Ernie here, and this is going to be, I think, playing on his mind a little bit now, because he's now really only got one sort of chance to do this. I suppose he might get 2, if he's quick, but he'll be wasting a set of tyres. So realistically, he's probably only got one shot at this. As Matty Pitt goes to the top of the leaderboard there, as we were just watching him coming through that final corner. Matty Pitt has gone and displaced G.C. at the top of the leaderboard. Glenn is just starting a lap now, so Glenn will be looking to try and replace Matty Pitt at the top of that board in a moment's time. But I'll tell you what, that's an absolutely fantastic lap time there from the former champion, the driver who won the Season 11 championship 3 seasons ago, currently top of the pile here in the season finale of Season 14. As we've got Glenn here coming through the hairpin. And I didn't actually catch what the time was. Some of you might have seen that on the top right hand corner, I don't know. But Glenn here coming down towards the end of the straight. So he gets a solid exit there, coming out onto the second of the 2 long straights here. Now Glenn is going to see the top right hand corner and see where he is in relation to where he was. He's 300ths down on his personal best here is Glenn. His personal best is 3/10 off of where he wants to be. So Glenn's not really finding it over this lap so far. Can he pull out a worldie of a final sector here and potentially put Matty under some pressure? This is second run of this qualifying session here for this final round of the season. So Glenn here with just the final corners to go. What is it going to be for the former champion? A purple sector. He's not good enough for Glenn. He goes up into 3rd place, moves ahead of C-Mac, so he found a small amount of time there, but not really sufficient. And he's not on the front row. G.C. still remains in 2nd place. He's on an out lap now, so G.C. will be coming around to start a flying lap in a moment's time. But for Matty Pitt here, he's looking pretty good at this early stage in the session. Bad Man's still in the pits. I don't know if he's got a qualifying ban or whether he's just doing attempting a last to first challenge or something. I'm not quite sure what the plan is there for Bad Man, but he still hasn't moved from that pit box. And he's now on an out lap again, so we'll be looking to try and get in the mix potentially. As G.C. now starts another lap. In fact, G.C. has backed out of it, so it's not going to be an improvement here for G.C. So it's going to be P2 as things stand. If G.C. comes in at the end of this lap, he'll have time to get round and do another run here at the end of this session, but he needs to box at the end of this lap. Unless, of course, he's going for a second warm-up lap. We've seen it done before. It wouldn't be the wildest thing we've ever seen. It could very well be possible that G.C. could be going for another warm-up lap here. But we are going to have to see how that unfolds. But for the time being, we've got Glenn coming in after his 2nd run of the session. Glenn tonight. So let's just double check. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
So let's just double check. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
So yeah, it's all fine at the moment. So Matty Pitt, the provisional pole sitter, back out onto the track once again here, looking to try and cement what's currently a small advantage here in this qualifying session. He sits 16 thousandths of a second ahead of G.C. at the top of the leaderboard. G.C. on a flyer as well. Let's see what he's up to. He's so he did go for that extra warm-up lap, but he's not finding the time. He is currently 2/10 down through the middle sector, so he needs to find 2.5 tenths in this final sector to move ahead of Matty. And even if he did, Matty could potentially go quicker here on his final run as well. So I don't know. It's looking unlikely here that G.C. is going to be able to take pole. Final few corners here for the Ferrari driver, Rooster Race in the Red Bull here at Purple Sector this season. jumped into the Ferrari to replace Street Boy, as here he comes over the line. He found a tenth of a second in the final sector, but it wasn't enough there, and G.C. has to remain in second place for the time being. He won't have time to get into the pits and get another set of tyres on, so that's going to be as good as it gets here for him. White Shadow says, "Oi, me and the wife miss these live streams." Oh, well, I'm glad that you're I'm glad that you're happy they're back anyway. The thing is, like, I realised that it's probably not as fun having it in the background, and I know that people did watch them, you know, like friends, relatives and whatever, of the people racing, and also it just saves me the hassle of having to keep my PlayStation on overnight to let them upload. So, you know, why I stopped doing the live streams was for a few reasons. There's one, because the Singapore race, I remember from, I think, last season, it was a great battle, and I remember the stream just turned off halfway through. But I've found a remedy to this, and it is that if I just remote play, access my PS5, and then watch the stream on YouTube live on my computer using the same TV, the same monitor that I use for my PlayStation, I can just keep track of whether the stream's live or not, because I use my phone to obviously connect to the races through remote play on my PlayStation, but I realised I can do both, so it doesn't really matter. Jazzman says, "We need ACC back. Hope you're well, mate." Oh, good to see you, Jazzman, and you too. Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to be doing leagues again, to be honest. I've been doing the commentaries on these leagues, like Purple Sector and that, for, you know, the whole time, but ACC, I'd love to get back into it one day. I don't know if it's going to be soon. I was saying all the time, constantly, it's going to be soon, but I don't know at the moment. I just want to sort of take it easy and just, you know, stick to commentating for the time being. It's the part that it's my favourite part. So as Matty Pitt has abandoned his improvement attempt here, so I don't know what's going on there, but Matty Pitt obviously didn't feel like he was finding time or enough time there on that lap to make it worth continuing on. So Matty Pitt is back in the pits. He's still on provisional pole, but Glenn could easily nab this off of him. I say easily, I mean, he's got to find 3/10 first, but he's found half a tenth here through the first sector. Here he comes then down towards the first of the two long straights. And here he comes then onto the power out of the chicane down the second of the long straights here. So Glenn's going to be looking to try and find at least 2/10 through this part, because obviously he's 3/10 down on the provisional pole time. He's a tenth and a half up, so he's finding a bit of time, but he still needs a couple more tenths in this final sector. He really needs to pull this out of the bag here, does Glenn, and we know he's capable of it because he's got the credentials. He is a two-time champion of the Purple Sector Formula 1 League here for a very good reason, as he's just got this the final corner left to go now. And Glenn coming over the line, and he couldn't find enough time there. Found 400ths of a second. It's not enough there to go on to P1. So Glenn, it looks like it's going to be P3 at best for him. Is anybody else out on a lap there? Rexy Boy's out there. He's just coming through into the final sector. I'll tell you what, Rexy Boy is finding an absolute load of time here in the middle sector. He's almost nearly half a second up through the middle sector. So if he can continue this sort of momentum here, Rexy Boy could be on the front row, maybe even on pole position. He only needs another tenth to put it on pole here. Here comes Rexy Boy then through the final corner. This could be an absolutely shock pole position here for Rexy Boy. It is a shock pole position for Rexy Boy. He goes to the top of the pile here. That is absolutely unbelievable. Rexy Boy, where did that come from? So P1 for Rexy Boy in qualifying for the final round of the season here for season 14. Ferrari first and third on the grid, and that is a top three that we were not expecting here. Rexy Boy, in fact, no, did Badman just take pole? You're kidding me. You're kidding me. I think Badman just took pole. That is unreal. So Badman just popped in a lap out of nowhere right at the end of the session. I didn't even know he was out there. I thought he wasn't doing a lap. I thought Badman was sitting quali out. He literally must have left the garage with about 2 minutes left. That is bonkers. So Badman has gone and taken pole with a 23.0, almost putting it in the 122s, nearly 6/10 clear of Rexy Boy. I can't believe what I've just seen there. So, I mean, he was sat in the pit garage for the entire session. He did not move. Well done to Badman on taking pole. Fair play, fair play. I mean, I respect that. That's delivering under pressure. I've got to say. So well done to Badman on that one.
Lap gets underway and every driver will be looking
1 2 1 2 testing.
making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out.
1 2 1 2 testing.
So here we go then, guys, for the final time this season here at the Purple Sector Formula 1 League, and the first time on a live broadcast. Here we are then, as we're getting ready to go racing here. It's 12 cars on the grid. Not bad for a final race of the season, I have to say. So we have got Badman starting this one on pole position, having taken a very, very last gasp lap there, which was 6/10 clear in the end of his closest driver. Second place driver, obviously, Rexy Boy, who pulled out that lap that we all thought was going to be pole position, but it wasn't quite. Well, it was definitely not enough to beat Badman, but nonetheless, they're lining up on the grid. As we've got Drauga starting at the back of the pack for this one, obviously getting into the qualifying quite late on. Here we go then, lights are on, and at the head of the grid for the final time here, season 14 at Purple Sector. It's lights out, we're underway, and Badman there gets away pretty nicely. Rexy Boy as well from second, as we see his teammate almost running into the back of him into turn one. His teammate gets caught up there in the middle of a bit of a sandwich there, as G.C. caught out with Matty Pitt and C-Mac. Matty Pitt up into third place in all of that, as G.C. trying to come back at him through this next sequence of corners here, but Matty getting that job done there, as he's now looking to the inside here. Is G.C. trying to come back at Matty into the hairpin. Matty holding it around the outside for the time being, as it looks like we're mostly safe apart from Drauga, who's had a massive incident there, and Drauga is out of the race here on the opening lap, so that's gone a horror show there for Drauga. And I don't know if it's a safety. I don't think it's a safety car at the moment, so I think we're okay. But we've got Street Boy there getting ahead of Ernie up into P8 in the background. So Street Boy there managing to do that quite nicely there. John also battling with Mango, as John's got up into P10 there with that one. But Badman out the front has got the lead over Rexy Boy, as Matty Pitt managing to gain that place on G.C. in the first corner. As we've also got Ernie trying to challenge on the back of Street Boy at the moment, as these two fight it out over 8th and 9th places here. Ernie didn't have the best of qualifyings. We've seen many times over this season he's had his moments, but this tonight doesn't appear to be one of them so far. But he's currently going at it there for 8th place at the moment with the Haas. But as they come out of the final, or come through the final corner here at the end of the first lap, it's the other Haas here, Badman, the champion of this Purple Sector Formula 1 League, who has the advantage as they come over to complete lap 1. As there's Rexy Boy after his fantastic qualifying, keeping tabs with the leader for the time being. The leaders here are coming through the first few corners here as they come down towards the hairpin. Now Rexy Boy's going to look to try and seize an opportunity here. He's going to have the DRS and the slipstream here coming down the first of the long straights. So we've got High Grade in the comments. Hello High Grade, good to see you. High Grade, one of the Formula racers in the ACC leagues alongside Jazzman. Good to see a few old faces on here tonight, as we've got Rexy Boy looking to the outside now on Badman as he comes to the end of the first long straight. He's got around him there. Has he got the move done though? He goes a bit deep there into the corner, as Badman's going to look to try and get the run here on the exit of the corner. They're still side by side, and this is going to present an opportunity to Matty Pitt now, who'll be looking to try to seize on this if these two trip over each other, but at the moment they haven't done so. Badman there on the inside, getting the position back off of Rexy Boy. A brilliantly crafted move there, as Badman knew that if Rexy Boy ever took him into that chicane, he would have the prime opportunity to come back at him, and come back at him he did. Badman there retains the lead for the time being. And Matty Pitt's just watching this unfold behind them, and surely is just meticulously waiting for his chance to try and pounce if these two trip over each other. As Ernie there taking full advantage of Street Boy making a bit of a mistake, and Ernie there moving through up into 8th place, and he did that one very nicely there. Ernie seized an opportunity beautifully there to gain that position as the leaders here coming over the line to complete lap 2. C-Mac there is just on the fast lap of the race there from P4. So he's closed the gap a little bit to the leaders, and in fact everybody, the entire pack, all 11 cars that are left in the race are within DRS of the car in front. So it's a long DRS train from 1st down to 11th place at this point. It's looking to be a really, really exciting race here so far. So here they come then down the first of the 2 long straights, and Badman still has the advantage. Rexy Boy, this is where he passed him on the previous lap. Is Rexy Boy going to play the game differently this time? Is he just going to wait and be a little bit more patient here, knowing that Badman could easily get the move on him if he gets past him through that first chicane? He's going to try and use the DRS again, but he's just a bit too far back this time around, and Badman's going to hold on comfortably here into the second braking zone there of the 2 long straights. As it would appear, Mango's now ahead of John up into 10th place, so looks like that's been a swap over there between those two for P10. But at the moment, looking like Matty Pitt's putting Rexboy under a bit more pressure. Certainly more pressure than what Rexboy's putting on Badman. Well, although Badman's still not managed to shake him off at this point, he's still right there. But Matty definitely looking to try and get on with this on the back of the Ferrari. Top 3 though separated by less than a second still, as Ernie's managed to pick off White Shadow up into 7th place. And is that job done? It looks like it might be. It is, yep. So Ernie there has made that position. Next up for him will be Clen, who's currently running in P6. Now interesting, let's just check what tyres Clen's on here, because he has lost the top 5 a little bit here. He's on the same tyres as Matty C-Mac and G.C. And the top 2 are actually on the hard tyres. Now we know the tyre wear is pretty hefty around this circuit due to those the long left hand bends that we see. The right rear tyre takes an absolute shredding around this circuit, so it's no surprise that the hard tyres are coping very well at this point, as Rexy Boy's taking the lead again, but Badman's looking to try and come back at him here, as Badman's sweeping around the outside here, and it's going to make that move easily back on him there. So Badman retains the lead for the time being, as Rexy Boy momentarily took it away from him again, as he did on lap 2 of the race. But it seems like if you make that move into the chicane at the end of the first long straight, you're going to leave yourself vulnerable here for the second part, as Ernie seems to have been repassed now by White Shadow. These two having a great little fight over 7th place. Ernie cutting the inside of that apex a little bit there. That would have probably given him a warning, I would have said, or at least a warning. I mean, it's no penalty so far as we can see, but yeah, for sure, that's going to be a bit of a wake-up call there for him. Let's see how they come through the final corner once again. And Ernie gets a nice exit there out of the final corner. Here we come then, side by side, down the start finish straight, and has to just back out a little bit there as they go into the corner. Ernie, for the time being, staying behind the Haas there in that battle for 7th place. And Ernie, they're getting a nice run out of turn 1 actually, into turn 2, and has got ahead of him now. So Ernie there moving up into P7. Oh, as he gets massively sideways there going to the hairpin. And is that going to give White Shadow a chance to come back at him? Surely you would think it probably will. Here he goes then, DRS for White Shadow Hull, and he moves to the inside and makes that move back on Ernie, as we see some excellent racing here between these two. And that's White Shadow back up into 7th place. Excellent stuff there from those two drivers, as we go back to the leaders here, because Rexy Boy's still keeping Ernie on his Rexy Boy's keeping Badman on his toes, not Ernie. But at the moment, Badman's holding on to that one. This time around, Rexy Boy didn't make that move into the first of the 2 heavy braking zones at the end of those 2 long straights. So for the time being, Badman retains the lead. But each time that Rexy Boy's made that move going into the first chicane, he's then ended up losing a position down that second straight. So he's maybe thinking, oh, I've got to go about this in a slightly different way potentially. But nonetheless, there are the leaders coming over the line here to start lap 6 of the race. There's Matty, there's C-Mac in the background, G.C. with Clen there running in P6 out of White Shadow. There's Ernie, Street Boy and Mango, and John currently running in P11 in this race as things stand. See Rexy Boy taking a very wide line through that hairpin, and obviously he's getting a decent exit out of the corner as a result, using DRS to get that a little bit closer to Baban. Not really close enough to put him under any significant pressure as we come into that first braking zone. We've got C-Mac there going a bit deep there into the corner, but he's made that move there on Matty Pitt. Matty though is going to try and get the cutback here, and down the second straight. Matty's surely going to execute the immediate reply here. He's got DRS and he's swooping around the outside. Here is Matty Pitt saying that it's not a clear cut move, but he just gets ahead there into the braking zone, and Matty moving up into third place. It wasn't night and day, but he did it pretty nicely indeed, as Ernie is still stuck behind White Shadow for the time being in that fight for 7th place. These guys have been battling now for a number of laps as well. We see Clen coming into the pits here at the end of lap 6. So into the box he comes now. What's he putting on here? Clen putting on the hard tyres. So we've got a 23 lap run to the end. I wouldn't have thought he'd be going to the end of the race. It'll definitely be a 2-stop. Oh, Street Boy's out of the race. Now where has Street Boy binned the car? Let's jump on board with Clen here, see if we can catch the point at which Street Boy's knocked it into the wall. It does look like we've got a yellow dot going into turn 1, so we've got a safety car. That will spice things up a little bit. It must have been through turn 2 where Street Boy lost it, because Clen overtook Street Boy's car at around that point. So Street Boy there has had a moment of some kind, and it's resulted in his retirement from the race. So we're down to 10 runners here tonight for this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix here at Purple Sector. And Baban, the race leader, will be picking up the safety car shortly. And I would have thought most of these guys now will be coming in for a pit stop. Clen will definitely have lost out in this one, because I think everyone's going to be coming into the pits now. So I think he's going to remain in 9th place. And everyone in front of him is going to have the same age tyres as him. So this definitely has not worked out at all for the former 2-time champion here at Purple Sector. But the current champion out in front, leading the race in a pretty good position. Saying that, he has to do at least another stop after this one that he's about to do. I'm pretty sure he's about to do anyway. Is he going to come in? Yeah, Baban's in. So I'm going to guess he'll probably do a stint on the hards now, and then maybe a stint on the mediums to finish the race. That would probably be the safe option. But then again, we don't know. Baban, oh, he's put the mediums on. So he's getting his medium stint done and out of the way now, as we see Rexy Boy's gone for the medium tyres as well. So the top 2 starting on the hards, both putting the mediums on. Matty's gone for the mediums, so he's already done a stint on the mediums. He's going to be now doing another one. And C-Mac and G.C. ticking their box, getting the both compounds done and dusted. And he's gone for the hard tyres. White Shadow has gone for the mediums. In fact, Clen feeds out just ahead of White Shadow, so it's not all doom and gloom. He's got ahead of a couple of drivers during this safety car period, but certainly he's lost a couple of places as a result of that. He's lost out to G.C. and Ernie. Oh, I think he might have actually already been behind G.C. So yeah, it's not worked out horrendously actually for Clen. I have to say he's only lost 1 place as a result of that. As we see John off and away on a fresh set of hard tyres. Mango also on the hard tyres, so that'll be an interesting fight for those guys. Obviously both of them guaranteed points now with the elimination of Street Boy and Trauger.
same tyres as Matty Simak and Gino, and the top two are actually on the hard tyres. Now we know the tyre wear's pretty hefty around this circuit.
Oh, pardon me. Here we go then, everybody. We are about to get back underway here for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix here at the Purple Sector Formula 1 League for the final round of the season. As we've got Bad Man here taking us through these final few corners, the race leader, the already crowned champion for this season as well, looking to try and end the season on a high. Rexy Boy's kept tabs at him for the duration of this one, to be fair. Rexy Boy's done a very, very impressive job. He's I'm sure he won't mind me saying it's been something of an also run for this season, but currently doing a fantastic job here so far in this final race of the season, and currently in contention for a win, definitely a podium, that's for sure. As we see, looks like White Shadow's just dropped a bit off of the back here as they come through the first few corners here of lap 10 of the race. But so far, no dramas here on this first safety car restart of this race. And Bad Man leading us coming down the first of the two long straights. But I tell you what, Rexy Boy is sticking to the back of him very nicely indeed here. And once the DRS comes open, I'm pretty sure we'll be seeing him go full attack here on these medium tyres. These tyres are known for not lasting quite as long as the hard tyres. And if Bad Man's got one weakness, you know, and there aren't many, but if there's one chink in the armour, I'd have to say it'd probably be tyre saving. So Rexy Boy's got to be sensing a chance here in this second stint on the less durable medium tyre. But Bad Man seems to be settling into a nice rhythm at the moment. It's got the gap 0.7 of a second as we speak. And there are the top three at the moment. Bit of a gap back to C-Mac. He's just over a second behind the top three at the moment. G.C. keeping tabs with him. Ernie currently trying to gap Glenn in that battle for 6th and 7th places here. We got Bad Man doing the fast stop of the race there that last time around as John picks up a 3-second time penalty here. The track limits. And we see a couple of drivers coming in here. John and White Shadow both in here at the end of lap 10. So the leaders here coming down the first of the two long straights with DRS this time. Rexy Boy looks to the inside, a little bit too far away to dive on the inside. We've seen a couple of those in the first stint as G.C.'s got ahead of C-Mac, just noticing that one on the timing board. We're staying with the top two here though as they come down the second long straight. Again, a bit of DRS here for Rexy Boy to get that little bit closer. He's the closest he's been down this part of the track all race. Looks to the outside, tries to put Bad Man under a bit of pressure. At the moment, Bad Man's not falling for it, but I tell you what, Rexy Boy's turning it up a little bit here on the back of the race leader. Over the course of the first stint, he had his moments here, made the move into the chicane. I'm assuming they were dive bombs because both times Bad Man was easily able to recover the position down the second straight. But so far, Rexy Boy's actually looked pretty handy here on the back of the race leader. Matty Pitt, those also waiting in the wings, and I'm sure he's looking to try and pounce. If these two end up running into each other or having a problem, then Matty Pitt will not need a second invitation. He's a driver who knows what it takes to win here at Purple Sector. There's Scott there saying, "Go on, lads, watching in the break in the darts." And yes, I am pished. Don't worry, that's fine. I fully commend you for your 10 out of 10 use of free will there, Scott. I've got to say, that's completely understandable. There's White Shadow there getting a 3-second time penalty there for track limits as he comes into the pits as well. But yeah, for sure. I mean, you've got to have a bit of fun, haven't you? You know, otherwise, what is life? But Rexy Boy there, a little bit too far away on Badman, going into the first of the 2 heavy braking zones. Now he's going to have another chance here, maybe, but it's same sort of distance as he was on the previous lap, maybe slightly further away this time than he was on the previous lap. And Rexy Boy again is just not going to be in a position to do a whole lot here on the back of Badman, but he's keeping tabs with him. That's the most important thing, because if you stay close, then you're keeping yourself within striking distance. As we also see Ernie there making the move up the inside of G.C. going into the braking zone at the end of the second straight. So now G.C. is going to be feeling the pressure a little bit from the Red Bull of C-Mac. Obviously G.C.'s old team there, the Red Bull here at Purple Sector, and he's still got C-Mac now getting a little bit larger in his rear view mirrors. Glenn is at the back of this quartet. Glenn not having the race tonight here at Abu Dhabi. Was on the podium last season where he took the season 13 championship, but this time around it doesn't seem like he's quite having the same sort of joys here. But Badman's managed to gap Rexy Boy a little bit. The gap's now over a second, so Rexy Boy's fallen back through this first sector ever so slightly. Matty's now going to be, I guess, sensing an opportunity here to move up into second place as they're coming out of the braking zone now, down the first of the 2 long straights. Now here comes Matty with some DRS. Is this going to be a move into the chicane? As he seems to just be a little bit too far away there going into the chicane. Now he's going to look to try and get a good exit here though, because he'll be in a prime position here to make the move into the second braking zone. Here we go then, DRS once again here for Matty Pitt. Now is he going to look to the outside? Is he going to be forced to go around the long way here as Rexy Boy kind of half-arsed covers the inside there, but nothing doing. In the meantime, looks like G.C. and C-Mac have got ahead of Ernie, so Ernie's lost 2 places here. But we're watching about other second and third places right now. Only down to P6 behind G.C. and C-Mac. But these two still continuing to go at it there. But yeah, Ernie there obviously was ahead of both of them a little while ago. But I'm not sure when that happened, but he's dropped behind them here. Ernie now running there in P6. Badman up the front's got a gap to 2 seconds here to Rexy Boy and Matty. There are the other guys still battling in the background. We've got G.C. who seems to have got a tiny bit of a gap here to C-Mac and Ernie. Not a massive one, they're still within DRS, but it's not like they're right on the back of him. As we've got to go to Matty, because I tell you what, he is absolutely breathing down the neck here of the Ferrari of Rexy Boy. This is going to be, I think, the moment where Matty Pitt takes second place here in this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix here at Purple Sector this season. He's now looks to the inside, and Matty Pitt getting up into second place there. Is it job done as he tries to move back onto the racing line there? Rexy Boy was on the outside and Matty had to take a slightly compromised line there through the corner, but nonetheless it doesn't appear to have affected him too much. Can Rexy Boy get the run here down towards the end of the second straight? I think he might have to settle here. He's going to look to try and go around the outside here as Rexy Boy. Oh, I tell you what, that's a beautiful move there from Rexy Boy. Managed to keep the speed on the outside there. Now can he keep the momentum and keep it in track limits? Yes, he does. Rexy Boy there, absolutely fantastic stuff. Well, I thought he got there a bit too late there, but he swooped around the outside absolutely brilliantly, and Rexy Boy retakes second place after Matty. Looked like he got that one done there into the first chicane. So brilliant stuff there from Rexy Boy. Matty's now going to have to wake up a little bit earlier if he wants to pull a move on Rexy Boy, as Ernie's got a 3-second penalty now for track limits. So the track limit penalties are starting to take shape. We see 3 drivers currently sporting a record of indiscretion, as we also saw Rexy Boy pushing those limits a little bit much. I think he'll be joining them if he carries on like that, and Glenn becoming the 4th of those to have overstepped. Now let's hope that Rexy Boy doesn't have Ricardo Adami as his race engineer, because if he does, then I have a feeling he might not know about that track limits, although he probably should know because he was about 20 feet off of the track. But anyway, Matty made the move there into the first chicane. Now can Rexy Boy come back in here, coming down the second straight? He's going to have a bit of DRS to try and do exactly what he did on the previous lap. But is he just a little bit further away this time around? It's going to be very, very close here between them as Rexy Boy looks to go on the outside, and Matty Pitt's still there, and they make contact going through the corner. Matty Pitt's managing to hold his ground there on the inside. Rexy Boy with some good momentum here. Can't get that move done around the outside. Matty Pitt's made that one stick this time, and he's up into second place as a result of that. We've also got C-Mac and G.C. fighting with Ernie in this trio, fighting out over fourth place. And I tell you what, these guys might be able to close in on Matty and Rexy Boy if they continue to fight. But have we got a safety car here? I think we might. I'm not quite sure what it's in aid of, but I think we've got the dreaded yellow dot going through turn one, so goodness knows why, but this is going to give everyone a free pit stop to put the hard tyres on, and I think that will mean that everyone will have used the hard tyres, so I think it's going to be a very simple final stint here, and that's going to kind of just make the race a little bit well, one-dimensional. I think we're going to have the whole pack on hard tyres to the end. It's not really what you want, is it? But Mango appears to have not pitted, so Mango might be the race leader. No, second for Mango, so Badman retains the lead. But everybody else is coming to the pits. G.C. had to put the mediums on by the looks of it. Potentially, I think, hadn't used the... No, actually, I think he had used the hards. So I think he had used the mediums. I think he used them in the first stint, because... if I remember correctly, I think the only one of the top six, the only drivers in the top six who weren't on the mediums were the top two, which were Badman and Rexy Boy. So yeah, I'm pretty sure G.C. has used the mediums, so a bit of a head scratcher there as to why he's gone for those. We know he's a bit of a tyre saving connoisseur, but that seems to be quite an audacious move there for G.C. But nonetheless, long way to go here in this one. Obviously, safety car will be out for a bit. That'll give him time to save those tyres, but yeah, don't know, that just doesn't seem like the most logical decision from myself, but or rather from my point of view, should I say. But anyway, we move. some water.
Is not a traditional politician. He doesn't throw tantrums on social media. He doesn't govern by ego. He governs by mathematics, systems, and deep institutional relationships. Before he was the leader of Canada, he was the governor of the Bank of England. He knows the British financial system better than anyone alive. He knows the lords. He knows the bankers. He knows the king. He spent years in London steering their economy through chaos.
Oh, dear. There we go then, everybody. We are about to get back underway here for the second safety car restart. Hopefully this will be the last one. We can have 11 laps of racing action to the end of the race, but we've got Badman here who's going to lead us away. Mango is on very worn out hard tyres, but he's currently running in second place right behind the leader, so it's going to be interesting. I don't think Mango's going to be able to put up much of a fight here with the cars behind, but we will see as we're back underway here. So already it looks like Mango under a bit of pressure as they come into turn one. Oh, sorry, no, that was what I was looking at there. As yeah, he's coming under a bit of pressure now because Matty Pitt's looking pretty well. He's already get past him there, so Mango's just dropped back there. He's just got off the gas and just let everyone through, and no dramas there. Madman leading the race by almost 2 seconds already here as they go through the hairpin. As we see Mango there very wide there as Clem gets ahead up into P7, and we've got John and White Shadow who are queuing up behind him right now as well. But Badman here leading the race by a considerable margin already here as they go into the chicane here on lap 19 of this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix here for tonight. As G.C.'s got to have Ernie up into P5. Ernie still on the back of him here as they come down towards the end of the second straight. John's got ahead of Mango now up into 8th place, and is White Shadow going to be able to follow him through here? I think he might be able to here. White Shadow here on the inside here for this next sequence of corners. Just a little bit too far back to dive up the inside there, but surely he's going to pick him off through this next sequence. He does indeed, and White Shadow there up into 9th place without too many dramas. But Badman here coming out the final corner to start lap 20 of the race. 10 laps left to go here in this purple sector, season 14, in a season which Badman has dominated and has won the championship already 3 weeks ago. His gap to Matty Pitt though under 2 seconds, so Matty's actually kept the gap since the first couple of corners where Mango was running in second and Matty got into clean air. Since Matty got ahead of Mango, he's actually kept the gap at under 2 seconds here to Badman. It was around that when he got past Mango, so it's interesting to see. Matty's definitely got the pace of Badman. He's definitely got his number around this circuit, or not. I wouldn't say he's got his number, sorry, but he can keep him on the same page. He's not like Badman's not, isn't clearly ahead of him. I think that these two are very evenly matched in terms of their pace, as we see C-Mac here on the back of Rexy Boy, but a little bit too far away. I tell you what, G.C. has got Ernie very close to him going into that second end of the second straight there. Nothing doing at the moment. As Ernie there looking to get up the inside here of G.C. and he's done that one beautifully there as the Sauber driver up into P5 ahead of the Ferrari. C-Mac here trying to hunt down Rexy Boy for P3. Rexy Boy has been running in a podium position for much of the race. To be fair, even if C-Mac can only get ahead of him, he'll still be on the podium because they've got penalties. So if Rexy Boy is careful with his penalties here, he should be on the podium here tonight, and that would be a phenomenal achievement for him. Obviously qualified on the front row in qualifying, so he did a brilliant job in that one. This White Shadow seems to have got ahead of John up into 8th place. So now he's in some clean air. Can he start to chase down the guys up ahead? He's got a bit of a gap to Glenn, who's running in 7th of 5 seconds. So it's looking like it might be a bit unlikely at this point. The Badman currently just under 3 seconds clear of Matty Pitt at the moment. Rexy Boy there just ahead of C-Mac at this point, in the battle for 3rd and 4th places, as we see C-Mac there losing out to Ernie, and he's gone a bit wide there, and he's lost out to G.C. as well. So C-Mac there caught napping a little bit. Is he managing to keep it around the outside here of G.C? Doesn't look like he's able to. G.C there moving through, so C-Mac could be under threat of losing 3 places in 1 lap here, because Glenn is now on the back of him as well. So C-Mac just needs to get himself back into a groove here. He's got himself stuck in a bit of a rut by the looks of it, as these guys come out of the final corner here to start lap 22 of the race, with 8 laps left to go here in this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. What's Glenn got in his locker here? Maybe looking for a top 5 finish here tonight. He's I tell you what, they've pretty much all got penalties. Only Badman and Rexy Boy have not got penalties so far in this race. So just goes to show really what a good disciplined job those two have done, Badman and Rexy Boy. And Rexy Boy currently on course for a podium position. Badman's starting to gap Matty now in that fight for, well, obviously it's 1st place, but it doesn't look like it's much of a fight anymore. C-Mac's now got ahead of G.C up into 5th place. He's made that move back on him there into the top 5. There's John here making a move to the outside of White Shadow, and it looks like he's done that one there, up into 8th place. Job done there for the Red Bull driver. He's gone a bit deep though into the corner. That could put that White Shadow back on him. It has. White Shadow there swooping back through up into P8 without any issues there. So that was a short-lived position gain there from John. And the show goes on in that battle for 8th place at the moment, as we see the leaders coming through into turn 1. That's the gap between Badman and Matty. There's Rexy Boy just ahead of Ernie at the moment. C-Mac, G.C. and Glenn. Bit of a train of cars there in the battle for 3rd place. So 5 of them in a line pretty much, but Rexy Boy in the prime position. For Rexy Boy now, he needs to make sure he keeps his nose clean.
But Rexy Boy in the prime position. For Rexy Boy now, he needs to make sure he keeps his nose clean.
Rexy Boy far enough ahead of Ernie at the moment, going into that first straight braking zone. He's still far enough ahead of Ernie and C-Mac and G.C. Glenn is still right on the back of them as well. Has Ernie got a good run here down towards the end of the 2nd straight. Has a look to the outside. He's going to try and go around the outside here. Surely he's not going to pull that one off. Surely he's going to run out of road. No, Ernie's pulled off an absolutely phenomenal move there. My goodness me. That was absolutely precision braking there from Ernie. How on earth he managed to judge that so well and also keep the momentum around the outside. That was an absolutely phenomenal overtake there. I was got to say, that's a contender for overtake of the season, that one. For those of you, I mean, if you don't do sim racing, he's kind of ruined it a bit by getting a penalty straight away afterwards, but for those who have sim raced, you'll be able to fully appreciate what a brilliant move that was, as he well, first of all, the overspeed, the amount of speed that he was taking into the corner over Rexy Boy, and then he obviously went around the outside and had to ensure that he didn't run wide and kept that momentum around the outside, kept to the speed as he was getting onto the power nice and early, and then just kept it within track limits as well. It was absolutely brilliant stuff there from Ernie, but he did kind of tarnish it a little bit by getting track limits later on in that lap, and a penalty, but nonetheless an excellent overtake indeed. Rexy Boy though looking to try and go back to him down the first straight here on the next lap, and he's done that one. Excellent stuff there from Rexy Boy, and Ernie's now going to look to try and come back at him here again in the same part of the track that he made that absolutely sensational move on the previous lap. Does he look to go around the outside again this time? I think he might go for, he's going to go for the inside this time around. Rexy Boy parks it on the inside. Ernie can't get that move done this time around, so Rexy Boy holds on to it for the time being. C-Max now looking pretty hungry in the background. This fight for the podium rages on, but Rexy Boy still in the box seat, obviously, with the penalty situation being how it is. Bad Man, the race leader, starts lap 25 with 5 laps left to go in this season. The already champion of the season, looking to try and go out on a high here for season 14 and win the final race of the season, as he did last season. But obviously only raced in 5 races last season, so wasn't the champion of last season's Furble sector, but we all knew what we were getting ourselves in for. I think last few races of the last season, I think I was touting him for a potential championship bid, and not only did he put in a championship bid, he pretty much bought the championship this season. Wrapped it up with 6 rounds left at Singapore 3 weeks ago, and has never really looked, from about the first 5 races, it just hasn't looked like giving it up. But Ernie here is still on the back of Rexy Boy in the fight for 3rd place, as these guys have been going at it now for a number of laps, and he's got some DRS again. Part of the track where he made that phenomenal overtake a couple of laps ago. Makes the move to the inside this time, takes a bit of much into the corner, goes a little bit deep, but gets a nice enough exit out of the corner, and that is job done there for Rexy Boy. Although Ernie should have said, although Rexy Boy is looking to try and come back at him here into this next sequence of corners. Ernie struggles through this part of the track. I've seen him a few times, but he seems to be alright this time around, and he has got that one held on to very nicely there, Ernie, up into 3rd place. But as we said before, the penalties are going to come to thwart him unless Rexy Boy picks up a penalty of his own, and I don't know what the situation is with Ernie in terms of the quantity of his penalties, because he might have more than one. Obviously you get 3 seconds per every 3 indiscretions, but if you get 5 indiscretions you only get 3 seconds worth. So really you want to use your tokens, but you only want to use 2 or 5 or whatever. You want to use 2 tokens per penalty. Basically, if you use 3, then you get a penalty. So if you're going to play the system, you want to really get 2 warnings. That's how you want to maximise your race time. But anyway, Bad Man here, 3.5 seconds clear of Matty at this point. There is Ernie, Rexy Boy and C-Max still going at it for 3rd place, with a small gap back to G.C. and Clen seems to have fallen off a bit off of these guys. It's not been the night for Clen at all, but I'm sure he'll be back fighting next season. Clen, we know, one of the consistent performers here at Purple Sector over the last few seasons. I'm sure he'll be back fighting at some point soon. But Bad Man out the front, having no troubles whatsoever, as we see Ernie's had a bit of a mare here. Oh no, Ernie's had a spin coming through the final sector of the lap. I did say this is the part of the track where he struggles, this final sector, and he's absolutely stacked it there. He's down to 7th place, and that's put him out of a possible chance of a podium. Obviously he'd have needed Rexy Boy to get a penalty anyway, but that's absolutely thrown it out the window completely now for him. As C-Mac here still trying to put some pressure here on Rexy Boy for 3rd place. And G.C. not far behind these guys either in this fight for 3rd place, as C-Mac there looking to the inside there at the Ferrari, going into the hairpin, but just a little bit too far away. Now he's going to look to try and get a nice run here down the first of the long straights. It just seems like he's a bit too far away here going into the corner. He'll get another bite of DRS here down the 2nd straight. Let's see how he deals with it. I'll tell you what, Rexy Boy did not get a good exit at all there, and C-Mac may take full advantage. Here we go with some DRS and some slipstream. Looks to the outside. Rexy Boy's got good straight line speed. It's keeping him in decent stead, but C-Mac's going to try and go around the outside here, and he turns in nicely there. Has he gone deep? Has he gone wide? We're about to find out. It looks like he judged it absolutely perfectly there, and C-Mac up into third place. Obviously on track because the classification, obviously Rexy Boy with no penalties still has kept his nose clean throughout the entirety of this race so far. G.C. right behind these two, but on those medium tyres, I reckon those medium tyres are going to start to fall off the cliff pretty shortly. So I'll be very surprised if he's able to give these two any sort of a fight over these last 2 laps of the race. But Rexy Boy still sticking to the back of C-Mac as they come into turn 1 once again on the penultimate lap of this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix here at Purple Sector for this season 14. It's Rexy Boy riding on board with him now as they continue to fight it out here for third place here on the road. Into the hairpin we go. Rexy Boy will need a good exit here. C-Mac there got a much better exit. Absolutely left him for dead out of that corner, but Rexy Boy with some DRS is going to get a bit closer here. C-Mac's going to be forced to defend here with Rexy Boy's incredible straight line speed and makes the move easily before we get to the chicane, but has to take a compromised line because he wasn't clear of C-Mac as he went into the braking zone. And Rexy Boy here still running in P3 after making that move a few seconds ago, but C-Mac's now got the DRS down the second straight. Saying that, C-Mac's not close enough, and Rexy Boy's straight line speed is keeping him ahead of that Red Bull for the time being, as G.C. Rexy Boy's teammate looks to continue to put the pressure on these guys despite being on the medium tyres, which are the less durable tyre. He's still doing a phenomenal job there on those at the moment. It's keeping them going. And I tell you what, that's very impressive, because to go, it's his 13th lap on his medium tyres. Obviously 11 racing laps is still no mean feat when you're comparing them to the hard tyres, which usually after about 5 or 6 laps, usually the hard tyres are already better than the mediums after that sort of length of time, especially around this circuit as well, where you've got those long left-handers which absolutely destroy the right rear tyre. I've seen it before. The soft tyres are burned out after 3 laps around this track, but at the moment G.C. still keeping these medium tyres in play in comparison to these hard runners. It's been a very impressive performance here from him. Also shout out to Matty Pitt. He's kept the gap down to 3 seconds to Badman, and that sounds patronising, but it really isn't, because we know that Badman has been dominant over the course of this season, and Matty's actually closed a bit on him on this lap so far as well. Maybe Badman's tyres starting to go off a little bit. He should be okay. He's far enough ahead, and he's only got half a lap left to go. We're watching about for 3rd, 4th and 5th at the moment though still, as C-Mac there gets he goes a bit wide there. I was about to say he got a nice run there. He did until he got that messed up that second apex. Now G.C. might fancy a run here on C-Mac, but he's a bit too far away here as they go into the end of the straight, and C-Mac's going to hold on to 4th for the time being as they come through the final few corners of the lap. But we've got to go to the champion of season 14 here at the Purple Sector Formula 1 League. He wrapped it up 3 weeks ago, and he's come here to Abu Dhabi tonight to try and go out on a high and to prove a point and show everybody why he is as far ahead in the championship as he is, as Badman exits the final corner here for the Yas Marina circuit. He takes the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix for the Purple Sector Formula 1 League for season 14, the final round of the season. Wraps it up in style here, or at least rounds it off in style, should I say. He wrapped it up a long time ago. Matty Pitt takes 2nd place, a very creditable drive there from him, with Rexy Boy completing the podium. G.C. over in 4th with C-Mac P5. Glenn came over in 6th in the end, the 2-time champion, not having the night here tonight. Obviously, 1 season on from when he wrapped up the championship here at this very circuit. White Shadow Hole coming into the final corner. It's going to be 7th place here for White Shadow. A few seconds clear of Mango, who's just coming through the final couple of corners now. It's going to be 8th place for Mango. John will be the last driver to finish in 9th place, a couple of seconds behind. Ernie actually retired from the race a few laps from the end, so not sure what happened there. But nonetheless, I saw him out that spin obviously, but didn't know he retired. But anyway, Badman there taking the win, and the champion of this season as well. Fantastic from Badman. Has not put a foot wrong throughout this race and has done brilliantly. He had a bit of pressure in the first stint from Rexy Boy. He didn't have it all to himself, but didn't bow down to any sort of pressure, and kept his head down and just drove off in that final stint. Very good job there from Badman. It's something we've become a bit used to, but he wasn't completely undisturbed throughout that one. But anyway, Bad Man taking the win here tonight for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix here at the Purple Sector. Formula 1 League, Matty, Pitt and Rex Boy completing the podium. Thanks to all the Purple Sector F1 League for having me as always. Really enjoyed it, absolute pleasure. And we will be back next season for next Tuesday for the season opener. I think it's the Chinese Grand Prix. And it will just be Tuesdays from next season. So it'll be a bit less for me to do. And obviously a bit more practice for the drivers as well, so that'll be great. But yeah, thanks Purple Sector, and we'll see you all again soon.